it's Katie here from the Scrappy Sisters, and I am participating today in another telephone YouTube hop with the Secret Not Secret Kit Club, and I am lifting that fabulous layout from Moira O'Reilly. So I'm just going to explain a little bit about what I'm doing, and then I will talk about the hop. So Moira had a lot of mixed media in her background, and I decided to do some myself. Now, I don't do mixed media very often, but I did purchase some Distress Oxide inks the other day from my local scrapbooking shop. I've got a brick and mortar shop near me that have the Tim Holtz inks and things like that, and I've never tried them, and I thought I wanted to give them a try. So I am doing the packaging technique, which I don't know if that's what you're supposed to do with these inks, but I did, and it worked fine. It didn't oxidize particularly well with the water, but I didn't leave it on for very long because I was in a bit of a rush and I wanted to get this layout finished and passed on to the next person in line. But I'm using, oh gosh, I don't actually know the colours. That one's Faded Jeans, I think, and then Worn Lipstick was the light pink, and I'm not sure what colour the other one was, the purpley colour. But yes, they are new to me, and I gave them a whirl. I liked them because I thought they would be a bit more pastel-y, and they are. Obviously, you could make them darker, but I added water, kind of thin them out a bit. And then in Moira's layout, she had used a star stencil and had put some texture paste in the background, and I decided I would do the same thing, although this is a little diamond stencil, but the same concept, just added it in the 3 different places. Now, I'm actually following Moira's layout almost to the T, I think, and that's okay. I really liked her layout, and it's, yeah, so let me explain to you what's happening. So the telephone hop, if you didn't watch the video that I uploaded a couple of months ago going through the same hop, is like, if you're in Australia, this is what we called it anyway, it's like a game of Chinese whispers, but obviously with scrapbook layouts. So there are 7 lovely ladies plus myself in this particular group for the telephone hop. We are called the Scrappy Shenanigans group, and we're led by the wonderful Lisa Brooks. So she was number 1 in our group. She then passed to Hannah Lemieux. Is that how you say your surname, Hannah? I'm not really sure. And then she passed to Miranda Weber, and then to Laura Alberts, and then to Brianna Nicole, and then to Moira O'Reilly. Then it comes to me, and tomorrow I passed it on to Krista Faruto. She has got the layout from me. I passed it on to her, and her video will go up tomorrow. If you're watching this the day this was released. If not, her video is probably already up, and everybody's will be linked down below. But basically what happened is Lisa started us off with the layout, and we all then, as the next person passed it to us and passed it on, we kind of scrap lifted the person we got the layout from and took inspiration from their layout, and the idea was to see kind of where you start and where you end up. A bit, again, like Chinese whispers. So what did I do? I backed my white cardstock on I'm using the Cocoa Vanilla, the new collection, the Happiness collection. So you will have noticed, and any of you who have watched my videos for a while, you probably picked this up. I did gut that paper that I backed my white cardstock on because I love Cocoa Vanilla and I was not going to waste that paper, particularly that wood grain paper. So I did actually gut it, which is not something that I often do. I have so much pattern paper that I usually just let it go and put a whole sheet down, even when I'm just creating the border around the edge like I have with this layout. But no, this time I did gut it. And then I cut 3 pattern paper diagonal kind of strips like Moira had for the left hand side, and I'm creating those now, and they are a little bit fiddly. It did take me a while to get them right. And they're a bit big. Once I've stuck this one down, they were a little big, so I had to do some trimming, and I had to obviously trim off some from the top or bottom of these strips because I only wanted these pattern paper kind of wonky, I guess, strips to only cover the white cardstock, not the border. So I want the border kept clean, so to speak, which I think Moira did too. But yes, that was a look I was going for. So I had to trim them down. I didn't want them to cover all of my mixed media. So yeah, I'm happy with that placement now. I'm just trimming with my scissors freehand a little bit off the bottom of the pink cardstock because my trimmer does not cut straight. You've heard me whinge about it before, although not recently. I don't mind the Fiskars trimmer that I have, but it definitely doesn't cut a straight line. One day, if I ever have more money than sense, which is probably never, I will buy a guillotine thing. I think maybe the Tim Holtz one. Sorry, I'm drinking a cup of tea at the same time. I've seen a lot of people talk about how they really like that, so that might be on my wish list. Perhaps I'll get it for Christmas from my partner. Who knows? But I'm getting a bit sick of my Fiskars one. And what I'm particularly getting sick of is having to buy new blades. Okay, rant aside. So I'm going through the 6x8 paper stack of the New Happiness collection. Now, the one thing I love about this paper stack is it's not a paper pad, it's a paper stack. So all the papers are loose. Not so great for storing because obviously, you know, pad form is a little bit easier to store, but you don't have any of the glue on the top when you're ripping off sheets from a paper pad. You also can't obviously rip the top. So if you wanted to use a full 6x8 piece of paper, you could, and you wouldn't have to worry about glue or ripping any of it or anything like that. So that's great in my opinion. What am I doing? So I wanted to create some layers behind my photo. So Moira had some layers behind her photo as well. Not as many as I've used, but she did. And I decided that I actually am not going to back my photo, which sounds a little bit weird, but it does have a white border around it, which I already created within the Epsom PhotoMate printer software. And I printed my photo out square, which is... Moira had a square photo as well, so I sort of took inspiration from that, and I had the perfect photo that I really want to scrap, and so this worked very well. And so what I instead decided to do was to create some layers behind my photos of these pieces of paper, and in the end I really like how it's looking, and I'm fiddling around a little bit getting the placement right. And I've seen other people do this, and I've actually never done it before. But then I decided that I didn't want to move it all to stick it all down, so I just stapled it together with my tiny attacher. I don't know why I've never done that before, because brilliant. I know Adele used to do that all the time. I'm assuming she still does. I haven't watched her in a while. But yeah, I use my tiny attacher, and then I pop my photo up on foam dots and I stick that down over my layers, and they cover the staples so you can't see the staples. Not that I would mind, but you can't actually see the staples anyway. And this is a photo of myself and my son. We were actually having brunch with a girlfriend, and she wanted to take a photo to show one of her other friends that she was catching up with, to show how much bigger my son had grown. And I don't often get photos taken of my son and I that aren't selfies, me taking a selfie. My partner is not a photographer. He hates me taking photos. Even though he knows how much scrapbooking I do, he still hates me taking photos. So as a result, he never takes photos of me. So the only time I usually get photos taken is if my sister is taking them, because like me, she takes a lot of photos. But yeah, my girlfriend took this one and I just really like it. My son's laughing, I'm laughing at him, and personally, I just think it's a lovely photo, and I thought I don't often scrap photos of myself, as I said, that aren't selfies, but that are really nice. So I'm going to treat myself and do this one. So, Moira also had some bits and pieces tucked into her photo, so I'm just adding some ephemera bits from the ephemera pack around the layers of my photo. So I've got some tags and tabs and things like that I'm sticking in. A lot of these are like tickets. I don't really like using tickets on my layout, so it works well to tuck them in as layers because you can't see what's on the ephemera, which suits me. And then I decided that I liked these cameras in the ephemera pack, so I wanted to put a little cluster in the top right. Moira had one in the top right. Again, I said I followed her quite closely. So I'm creating a little cluster up there. I use a label from the sticker sheet. I use a little banner that says "Life is Good," which I've popped up, and then I had another little banner that has a love heart on it, and then I add the pink camera, which I also pop up in the top right. And then I create a little cluster in the top left of my photo. So I add this tag, and then I'm adding the grey camera on top of that tag on some foam dots. And then I actually end up adding this grey leaf. And then I decided that looked a bit weird on its own, so I wanted to add a leaf to the top right cluster as well. And then I was thinking, this layout needs a third cluster, but I didn't know where to put it. of course, I referred back to Moira's layout, and she has put one in the bottom left of her layout. So I was like, okay, well, I'm supposed to be scrap lifting Moira, so I'll just do that. Okay, so I am starting with a couple of tickets in the bottom left cluster, and then I add a little grey leaf as well to keep with the theme, and then I add a little banner which says Little Moments. And then basically to finish off this layout, I'm just scattering 3 hearts in each of the clusters using the die cut hearts, but also a couple of hearts from the clear sticker sheet. And that's it. So while I am sticking those down, I will remind you to go and check out all of the other videos in the telephone hop. So we started off with Lisa. If you haven't started at the start of the telephone hop, I strongly recommend you go back to watch them. I'll try and remember to make a playlist of everybody and link it down below, but I will probably forget. So just check the links in my description box and go back and watch Lisa's, and you'll be able to see the evolution all the way through. And then definitely go and watch Krista's tomorrow, because she has used my layout as inspiration. So if you're not watching this the day it's released, then her link will be down below. But if you don't see Krista's link, it's because her video hasn't been released yet. So we are all done, and we will see you in the next video. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and definitely go and watch everybody else's videos. Bye.